Speaking of driving around in circles, burning gasoline and wasting money, we're going to Thompson this weekend. Yeah, it's coming right up. We've got what you need to know and our virtual track walk. We know you've heard this all before, but some of the things are changed for this year. And, you haven't listened to this track walk in a year. You probably haven't been to the track in a year. So as you're listening on your drive to the track, because we know that's what you're probably doing, let's do this track walk, visualize it in your head, think it through, and let's do it together. But we've got some other stuff to talk about before we get to that track walk. So Mental, kick it off.
Obviously,
toss it off to you, Mental.
Toss off to things you need to know before you get there. Now, as has been the case for the last 3 years, your tech schedule is on the limits page. Go at your set time. If you're not going to be able to make your set time, the sooner you recognize that, go and talk to them, and either they'll schedule you first thing in the morning or they'll tell you when you can show up because they have an idea of where they've got some openings. We talked about it's only 88 cars, which is fine for that track, but that's a lot for that paddock. It is a very, very small paddock. So you want to minimize how much real estate you're taking up in that paddock. The infield is small. You go over the bridge, you're going to head to the left, and you can claim whatever you want. Now, right from the bridge is the teams that have the garages, and that's how the other half lives. And if you haven't signed up for a garage, I hate to break it to you, you're not getting one. Nearby, you've got Walmart, you've got 2 auto parts stores south, 1 exit. Webster in Massachusetts is north and has more of the other stuff. You've got gas stations north or south, but south is a little bit cheaper because Connecticut has less taxes than Massachusetts. There's actually very little right around the track. It's a lovely little town, but there's just nothing going on right there. The track does have a restaurant, and there's the ice cream shop over by the golf course. Usually Dunkin's truck, it's going to stay there until their sales go bad. So there'll be a food truck there. And if you enjoy it, go there often, keep those people in business, right? The potluck is Saturday. We are going to have a link in our show notes. You've probably also already seen it in the various forums, but you're going to need to sign up, bring your food, bring serving spoons, plates, forks, bring a chair so you have a place to sit down and some drink. Now, there is no water or power hookups anywhere in the paddock for your RV. So bring a generator, or you're going to toss a pump in the swampy lake. And one other thing, I don't know if this is later too, but if you've got your car off the trailer and you've got your paddock area set up and you're running out of real estate, you can on Thursday, and I believe Friday before the track goes hot, hide your trailer in the infield of the banked oval course. And that gets it out of the way, and it's not in the way of anything right there.
You can. No. That's correct.
Yes. Okay. So, and it's just less space that's taken up by something you're not going to need until Sunday, unless your car blows up, in which case, have a drink and wait till the track goes cold, then go claim your trailer again.
Yep. It's usually there's just a few trailers over there, and then Scott McMichael sets up his camper over there by himself. So
right. You don't have to cross the track. You can get there without crossing the track. So you
Correct.
Don't have to. Yeah. So you don't have to wait.
I thought maybe they got nervous if they see people start going in there when the track is hot. All right.
It's far enough away from walls.
Okay yeah. They just don't like you sitting by the wall on the way in. But once you're way in there, like if something hits you all the way in there,
you're
like
in trouble.
There's bigger problems. Like there's really much bigger problems than that true. Based on all the stuff that's in the way. Yeah.
For the potluck, don't bring paper, plastic. Don't bring any of those. You need a serving spoon. Bring a drink. There will be drinks. I just saw that somebody's bringing the gin and tonic truck. They're serving cart. So there's plenty of drinks I think are going to be had, but no need for plasticware. I got that. That's part of me setting.
And you got your paper plates too. Got a lot.
I got my paper plates. Yeah. So you just need a serving spoon. That'd be helpful.
And bring it warm. If it involves being heated,
wonderful.
There's no capability to heat those things. Do it in your paddock.
Yep. Okay. I am going to talk a little bit more about the track timing and other fun things. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff Mental did. Track entry is Thursday, 3 to 10 p.m. and then again on Friday at 7 a.m. There is no entry without a wristband after 10, and that's when they stop giving them out. So make sure you are there by 10 o'clock. they want to leave, they want to go home. So you have to be there. Racing on Saturday is from 9 to 6, Sunday noon to 5. Used to be till 6:30, but now it's a little bit shorter. So they just made that change recently. Testing day is run by the track, $200 all in. So there's no, it doesn't matter how many people you're getting to drive. So it's definitely one of the best testing days that we have, especially on the East Coast. But it's a really decent.
Support it if you value, that cheap track time. Buy
right.
it. Make some
Especially the way the other tracks do it is not as good. This is very conducive.
Often the other ones will do it by head. How many people, you need a sticker, you need their own wristband. Only those people can go out. This is awesome. Also, in theory, in the past, they have allowed passengers an instruction, which is also awesome. I know that I've taken people out in the car just to see what the track is like. So I'm not sure that they're going to do that this year, but you should take advantage. But sign up on the Thompson site now. Register on. I think you can register on site usually. Testing runs from 10 o'clock to 1:15 and then 1:40 to 5 historically. There will be a track walk on Friday from 6 to 7:30 per Lemons. I know that it is happening. They usually call it as soon as track is cold. So at 5 o'clock, they'll probably go over the loudspeaker. Hopefully you can hear it if you are up in the paddock far away from the loudspeakers. But they'll tell you when exactly we're allowed to go out there. But as soon as the track is clear and clean, they're usually allowing us to go out there. I don't know that this is official, but I think we might be having a track walk, Chris.
We might be. Some of it's going to be weather dependent. It is supposed to be pouring rain. Friday afternoon. Maybe I'll just bring my flip flops and rain slicker, and we'll do it anyway.
Okay.
But how about this? If anyone's interested in doing a track walk, talk to me. Maybe we'll do one. If no one's interested, I'm not going to do it again. I mean, I know where I'm going, but if other people would like to help, then we can do that.
Are you guys going to bring your scribbled on map that Chrissy's notorious for? Because then you could do not a virtual, but a presentation. If it's pouring down rain, everybody could just sit in the garage.
I'm staring at it right here. It's across from me.
But it's not a colorful one. It's not a finished.
It's not,
one.
But it shows the track.
I mean, sure, we can bring it. Yes, let's just do that. That's a great idea.
Cool. All right.
Okay, so it is okay to paddock on the grass. Some of this is repetitive, what Mental said, but on the left, as you go around down the access road, and then the Black Lake and surrounding the area, that's free for all. No paddock up on the hill by turn 10.
That's where they have the bonfire. It's up on that hill.
Oh, all the way up. Don't keep going and going. Yes.
Don't go up the hill.
No, there's plenty of room in the couple different little platforms they have as you go up the hill, but don't go all the way up because that's where the bonfire is. Good. Yes, that is helpful. You probably will want to bring some bug spray. If you are anywhere near this lake, if we get enough rain, this is what's happened in the past. You've gotten enough rain, everything becomes a bog, a marshy type thing. So not only will everything that you own be in a marshy swamp type place, the bugs, because of that black swamp, they get pretty bad. So make sure you bring some bug spray. Let's see. Some garages, all the pavement is reserved. We already talked about that. So that's good. You can park your trailers in the grass. We talked about that. Fueling in hot pits. Fuel at hot pits or the pumps. Leave your gigantic Texas-sized truck out of pit lane, dude. Do that. It's awful. The fuel prices are totally reasonable. They bring in an extra tanker truck for the refill. Make sure you put your credit card. This is a confusing pump.
It is such a pain.
It is really confusing. Put your credit card back in the machine when you're pumping to finish your transaction. It's convoluted, and sometimes it won't give you a receipt. It's usually just easier to take a picture if you didn't want to remember. But
let's make that very clear. If you want to pump gas, you swipe your card, you pick your pump your gas, go back, swipe your card, and that's time number 2. That closes the loop and gives you a receipt. Otherwise, the next time you go, the loop isn't closed. You put your card in, it just spits out a receipt from last time. It doesn't do anything, and you're sitting there saying, "Why don't this work?" Ask me how I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't do it right.
And you can be the smart person when someone who doesn't listen to this show screws that up, because I got to do that a couple of years ago. No, bro, you never been here before. This is totally what you do.
Yeah.
Or I just go into the store and be like, it doesn't work.
Uh-huh. And one more thing about that, when we say don't park your Texas size
Oh my
edition pickup truck on pit lane, you can't get to pit lane, but there's a metal, silver fence that's there. But so it basically goes, if you're looking from the south, it's garages, paddock of the people who have garages, and then a fire lane, and then the silver fence. And inevitably some jerk off in a giant pickup truck parks in that fire lane by the silver, especially in the corner. And I say, hey guys, you really shouldn't be parking there. They're going to ask you to leave. And they go, no, we're not going to stay here. We're going to be fine.
We were here first and we're fine.
Right. And guess what? They have to leave later. And it's always some idiot in a BMW with a big pickup truck. So anyway, don't be that guy. And they're not listening. So this is just preaching to the choir.
We're all the people that say, gosh, those people again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it happens every year. They see a spot, they think it's no one's, and then most of the time we're not interested.
They think,
we're
so cool, we're clever. We got this good spot right by the front. Isn't that great? Why didn't everybody else take this spot? Ha ha ha. Yeah. There's a reason.
It's not your spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not smart. You're late.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You're good.
That's like
Mental.
Minecraft there, Mental.
Okay. Top tip. Mend the blend line. It's short, fastest at the fastest part of the track. Watch for blend line dive bombers. Because there is extra space when you're going into turn one does not mean you should drive 3 or 4 wide in the blend line where people will be coming onto the track. That is a no-no. Do not do that. It is dangerous for the people coming onto the track. It is dangerous for the people that don't think you should be driving in that lane. So do not drive on the inside unless you're coming onto the track. And I believe they will call you for blend line violations at this place because it is that dangerous. So make sure that you are watching where you're going with that blend line. First time on track, note it, and then don't pass over it when you go around. We already talked about it, but the potluck is on Saturday. I did previously advertise that it was going to be on Friday, but I have moved it to Saturday. Bring food at 6:30. So track ends at 6. Bring your food at 6:30. We're going to eat at 7-ish. I always give the ish. It is not 7 on the dot because sometimes we have no food at 7 o'clock and all the food arrives at 7:10. So I will tell you when you're allowed to eat. That's how it works.
Otherwise, people just stand there
with their plate,
the empty food table, saying,
and they have one salad because that's the salad that I brought, and everybody says this is stupid. And I'm like, if you brought the food and you put it out there on time, then we could eat. So bring some food, please. Don't bring potato salad. Bring something.
Crowd. I feel like the Thompson
Chrissy.
crowd is usually very strong potluck people.
We have done we absolutely have. But I also thought the same of some other ones we've had, and they haven't been great. New Jersey was off the hook. So if you brought something, we had food left over, which we don't always have. So Pitt, we did not have food left over. We didn't have enough food for the people that came late. We did for New Jersey. So bring food, please, please, please. You can eat if you bring some food. Thanks. And I'm sure we will be doing probably, I don't know that it is or is not, but it probably is Lemons for Love, and it's one of Aaron's favorite races, so we'll probably be doing something for him that day. So bring some money too. Weather looks great. Less hot than it has been in the past. We've gone to this race and sometimes it's been 97 degrees. Actually,
with all the humidity.
You're
just basically standing in 7 feet of boiling water.
We're used to it. You're just bothered. You're not. So that's why it's a problem.
We don't like it either, but
no. I'm not saying that, but it's you seem to, it affects you more.
Yes.
Rain, as Chris said, rain Friday afternoon. I think there should be no rain, 80s-ish for the rest of the weekend. And I think Mental glossed over this, but the ice cream place at the racetrack is amazeballs. Usually on, I want to say it's Saturday night, I think we've gone. The line is astronomically long, but they have a huge variety. Is it cash only? It might be cash only. I feel like we were scrambling last year.
And to get there from the track,
yeah,
walk over the bridge, go past the little shacks on the right, go past the shower shack, go straight down the road past the parking lot at the end, but stay straight and to the right of the bushes. and you end up in
It
the
like
ice cream
another,
place.
there's another
Yeah.
parking lot. Like you,
Yeah.
from the track, you can see the restaurant.
Yeah.
The
It's on
ice
the
cream
other
is
side of the clubhouse, but it's to
beyond
the
it.
right. You don't have to climb the hill around the clubhouse. Just kind of walk along the edge of the grass in the parking lot, and you end up over at the ice cream place.
So good. They have like
Yeah.
every kind. Yeah, can't say enough great things about this place,
It's
especially when it's
summertime is exactly the time for ice cream.
totally. And
Go
you're like,
Friday night.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
having a potluck.
Totally
It's
go
going to be
Friday night.
raining. You
Be
can sit
fantastic.
in your paddock eating ice
Ooh,
cream.
We might have to do that.
I think
sounds
so.
like that sounds like a great idea. Okay, enough about the track. The track amenities. Let's hear about the track. Chris is going to give us our track walk. Let's go.
We're going to do our track walk. Well, please, mental Chrissy, interject as anything that you think of as we go
Okay.
along here, because I just go off on a roll. Chrissy said, mind the blend line. She's absolutely right. Mind the blend line. When you're coming onto the track, this is very simple. Stay all the way on the shoulder until turn 1. That's it. If you are coming down the straight, do not cross the blend line and go into that very far right lane, even though you're totally going to win by passing those people that were on the left. No, you're not. You're just making it more dangerous for people. Yeah, because of people like that. It's why we got spun out at 115 going down that straight once. Fortunately, didn't hit anything else, but that's not a good setup for success for anybody. So as you're going down the straight, notice that it's not straight. It's definitely not straight. There's a solid kink kind of right before the blend line starts. And it also kind of tightens up there. And that's a place where people get squeezed a lot. So be mindful of your position there and that you're not going to get squeezed off by someone. And also that you're not the person doing the squeezing. Leave a lane. Make sure there's enough room for everybody. Watch your mirrors if you're a car that is typically getting passed. And if you're a passer, make sure that there's enough room for you to get by. Because if you're going fast enough, you'll just get by later. It's okay. But there's a lot of sketchiness that happens at that little kink right there. So be careful of that on the straight. Of note on the straight, as you're coming down the straight past track on, the track has elevation change. It goes up significantly there to the point where it will really help your braking zone if you're braking in the uphill part of that track. But then also note that it goes away right around the one board or a little after the one board and actually starts to go downhill. So all that nice traction you've had as you're going up the hill, you lose as you crest it past the one. So you're going to have to watch your braking pressure for that as you're there past one. Usually braking around the 3 gets you off the gas for the turn in for 1. I usually stop braking a little after the one board if you're not going to trail the brakes. Otherwise, this is a perfect trail the brakes corner. If you don't, you're not good at trail braking, if you even want to practice it, this is a perfect corner to trail your brakes into, because it lets you carry a little more speed at the end of the straight, and you've got room going into turn 1 to be able to do that. So give it a try. Now turn 1.
I love this corner of all the tracks we go to and everything we do. This one, it really does. It's very simple to get through safely. But if you're trying to really work on your racecraft, this is a corner to practice it. And you can start separating the people who understand how to drive through a corner versus the people who understand how to drive through this corner.
Yeah. And this corner flows into the next ones, so that you have to be careful about that too. There's also a pretty big curb on the inside of one that people get kind of pushed up onto all the time because they stuck their nose into the inside of someone who didn't know they were there. So just be mindful of that. All right. 1, as you turn it initially, it is off camber. So you're not going to have the traction you think because you're going down and off camber. But as you kind of get through the turn and past the apex, you get that camber back. So you will get more traction in. So I like to, if you can, trail the brakes in just a bit, power on your way out. Your track out on this is basically the end of the left side curbing. And if you go a little too far, there are some pretty solid ditches there. If you put your Honda Civic off there, it will tear the splitter half off. Yep. Consumer advice. Turn 2 is really just an extension of 1 and a setup for 3. get through it however you're going to get through it. If there's no one around you, I like to track out about 2/3 of the way and then come back to the right all the way for 3. If you are passing people, this is a decent place to pass people as long as you can get on their left and they see you well before they're going to turn in for 3. Too many people try to make that pass there and can't get up far enough, and the person that they're passing never sees them because they're looking down the track and turns into them. And that's the passing car's fault for not making themselves making sure the other car's aware of them.
Presenting is the phrase I've heard
Presenting.
before.
That's a good one. Yes, that's a great one. Yeah. So just be mindful of that if you're passing, because it's a good spot. Turn 3 is a pretty standard 90-degree left. There is a very important flag station, though, on the inside of turn 3. It tells you what's going on around the other side because you can't see it. So keep an eye out there. Now, it is slightly off camber on the outside, so watch out for that. And it goes uphill kind of right after you're out of 3. It's also a little hard because you can't see through the corner all the way, so you kind of have to visualize it to keep your speed up through there. Turn 4 is the very tight hairpin by the parking lot that you drove through when you came in. It's also called the clubhouse turn. I've tried a few different lines here. I think the fastest is a single apex late, like 2/3 of the way around the corner, and then you kind of push wide on track out. But realistically, in traffic, pick a lane. There's going to be essentially 2 lanes going through this corner at any time. As you're coming on the straight between 3 and 4, you're eyeing the traffic ahead of you and saying, all right, where's the car that's going to hold everyone up? That's the lane I don't want to be in. And you pick the other one. It's really how it goes. But if there's no one there, you're slowing way down here, and as it's uphill coming into the corner, you can slow down pretty quickly. But again, like turn 1, once you pass a certain spot, the track actually starts to level off and then go downhill. And it's when you do a track walk there, you can see all the rubber that starts right around that of people who have been braking hard coming up with the uphill. And as soon as they lose the pressure of the hill, their brakes lock up. It's amazing how that works. So you have to reduce your braking pressure as you get to that point and plan for it.
Is it my imagination, or is the track like very wide there and then narrows again very quickly? Because you mentioned that there's 2 clear lanes and that's the one you're picking there. But so many times I've ended up in that corner with 3 and I'm going, oh, this has gotten ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. It tightens up kind of in that corner. It's like a funnel coming into the corner. There's plenty of room for people to wash out wide. And then as you track out, as you come around the corner, it tightens right up a bit. But there is some runoff curbing. I don't recommend you go on it. It's not real friendly curbing. And then there's some gravel beyond that, but it's there for safety, but don't use it.
I think it might even kind of kick you back on track.
It does. Yeah. End of braking on this I like is just after turn in to try to get some weight on the nose to get that car around that corner, because you need it because it's such a tight corner. This is a 2nd gear corner for a lot of cars, so 3rd for others. Okay, 5 to 6. This is under the bridge, and there's technically 2 corners, but they have to be taken as one. I've done it a few different ways, and it really depends on the traffic and your car. The biggest thing about this, though, is you need a very, very late apex in turn 6. As it goes off camber, once it hits the oval, as soon as you hit that oval, boom, it just falls off on the camber. You lose a lot of traction. There is a patch of pavement on the inside on the left. It's a triangle. I think it's fairly new. We call it the Dorito. The Dorito should be your apex. If you apex on the Dorito, you'll be fine. That's all right. Make sure you apex at the Dorito. And always well there.
And once I've heard the Dorito from him twice, and then suddenly I saw it. Now you can't unsee it. So if you get a chance, go out there and visually acquire the Dorito. It's obvious once it's there.
If you walk over the bridge, you might be able to, you can see it from the bridge. So even if you're not on the track, you don't want to do a track walk. If you walk from one side to the other, you should be able to see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the problem becomes if you don't track out, or if you don't apex that late, you end up just washing out wide into the next corner, and there's a tiny bit of curb, and then it's just big dirt ditch. So
like car destroying ditch. It really is. So yes, if you early apex, you're in big trouble to go out there.
And
so there's two good.
You learned, watch, you see someone who's going to early apex, it really helps you set them up for a pass because you know they're going to end up washing out. And you can get them.
Shoot right up the inside. Yeah. So there's two ways through this corner. And we've already talked about it. It's important either way that you end up at that apex. But you can either just kind of come in wide, gradually tighten up and hit your apex. Or I've done this as a double apex, like a V too, where come in, Metzl, if you move the map over a little bit to the left. So come in on a V from the left, hit the apex on the inside as you're coming into the corner. Get right about there, and then go out under the bridge will kind of be the very base of your V, and then tighten it up as you go back around out of the other way. Sometimes in traffic, you just end up kind of stuck on an inside lane or an outside lane. Okay, so be it. The key to remember is late apex because of the loss of camber as you're coming out, and just watch for passing opportunities for people who are doing it wrong, because there's a lot.
It's really only a two car lane track there, so you may just take a terrible line and go on the outside if you know that you're going to be able to get a better line getting out of there. And as you're going to get to say, the track opens as soon as you get onto the different set of track, the different tarmac. So good.
Yep, you're going onto the stock car oval there, and it widens out. You can have 4 cars there. There's all kinds of room there for people, but then it all funnels down back as you hit turns 7 and 8. This is the top of the oval. Essentially, there are 2 lanes going through this again, an inside and an outside. I've tried it a bunch of different ways. In our car, taking the outside line is faster when there's limited traffic. And by outside line, I mean there's always a line of cones. Stay up on the banking until you're about at the cones. Brake on the banking, turn in hard on the banking. Ease off your steering when you hit the bottom, because again, you lose all that camber, and then roll into your gas. Your apex is about 2/3 of the way through the corner. But that's faster if you're using the banking and loading the suspension correctly as you go through it. And it's going to require you to have some different steering inputs as you're going through because of the different pressures. But in our cars, that works a little better. The other way is go all the way to the inside and hug the inside of the track all the way around. And if you, watch your traffic going in, you'll see which lane ends up best. But sometimes there's 3 lanes going in, and it's going to have to come down to 2. So find out where the best spot is going to be.
And I would humbly add, because they do set up cones towards the top of the oval, and on a good day, they'll last 1, maybe even 2 laps before they
they last pretty well.
Oh, they do.
They last pretty more than most places. Not like New Hampshire where they're all gone immediately. Yeah. These ones last fairly well because there's not really much
kicked.
They do sometimes.
I've seen them get scooped up by cars and end up in radiators, and not busting radiators, but clogging space, especially if you.
It's kind of like the first ones as you're coming into the banking, and maybe the last ones. But for the most part, the ones, they're really up high. You shouldn't be up there. Like that. No, you shouldn't. Don't go up there.
If somebody else goes up there and they knock one of those cones,
then
now it's in the middle of the track, and just keep an eye out.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good.
Now, as you're coming out of this corner, there's a big bump. So that in the pavement seam between the oval and the road course. And that's kind of in a spot where a lot of people. No, you were wrong.
No, you were right. Go up.
Back you were. There's a big bump there, and there's there used to be some yellow paint, and you can see on the yellow paint where the big bump is, and it's where all the black marks are where people have hit it. So my recommendation is, as you're coming out of this, either stay all the way tight to the grass until it straightens out, or you skip over the next lane over and go into the 3rd lane as you're coming out, because then you avoid the really big bump that's there. And once you have driven over all 3 of those lanes and you see it, you're gonna remember that.
Or you hit, or somebody squishes you and they decide to go 3 wide, and you all of a sudden decide that you have to hit that bump. You will not do it again.
You're gonna cringe. It's
you
bad.
will. It's not. This is not car crushing, but it's still
hurts.
Jarring.
A lot of times, if
it hurts your soul.
Yes, it does.
If I'm getting pushed wide there, I just open up and go further left and kind of go out towards the wall just to not hit that bump. It's not really any slower. Point for the star and Thompson. Usually at that point,
That's
it
our
just
favorite.
gets you out there. Yep.
That's on the track wall. You should probably say that because
Yeah.
there's a lot of good visuals when you're, especially to make sure that you're looking up and looking down the track. It says Thompson with a big on the inside of that wall. And so
There's a
the
star at the start of Thompson. That's the spot. And when you see it, you'll remember it. Okay. Turn 9. This is coming off of the oval into the chute. The way I see most people do this is they brake before the pavement change and slow down as they're coming into the chute.
Tempting. It's so tempting.
I know. There are 2 lanes on this, inside and outside. But the way it works best in our cars, if you clip the apex at the edge of the oval where it leaves on the inside, and then once you're over the bump, then brake in a straight line heading towards the hill and the parking lot. And if you're lucky, the anal trailer will be there. That was a great reference point. There's also a wonderful corner station right on the kind of outside of that corner. That's important so you know what's happening going on in the chute. So I know you're going to want to brake before the bump. If anything, if you're super tempted, then fine, maybe lift a little. Okay. But you usually can get it done by getting over the bump, let the car settle, brake hard in a straight line. That will set you up for the next left into diving turn. So it's part of the chute. It's left in the chute, and then you have to go right into diving turn. So brake in a straight line, stay left. And when I say stay left, I mean do not track out. You brake in a straight line, make your left turn, and then end up along the left side of the track between 9 and 10.
And when you get this right, you'll feel it immediately, but recognize that no one else is going to. So if you're running up on someone you're trying to pass, and you're not going to touch your brakes for a second, keep in mind they might. So be prepared for people to do exactly what Chris just told you not to do.
Yeah. I'm trying to give you the best way and also what's usually going to happen. So, again, turn in, late enough that you're parallel with the track between 9 and 10, because it's setting yourself up for 10. Because the end of 9 doesn't matter. The start of 9 is what matters. That's where you're carrying speed off the oval. The end is just setting you up for 10. So, yeah. So 10 diving turn. This is a setup corner for 11, mostly. It's a 90-degree right off camber downhill. So it's all kinds of bad things that are going on there. You can get through it too wide. You can pass people there. That's okay. You're going to track all the way out after 10. If your car is on the slower side, you may not need to brake. If you do need to brake, it'll be right around the end of the curbing on the left-hand side as you're coming out of 10. And, in medium speed cars, I think just a brush of the brake is probably all you need to set the nose, because you're going to go out then into 11, which is just a setup for the straight. And when you're in 10 looking toward 11, it looks like there's not much. You can't see through the current torn. It doesn't look like there's a lot of places to go. There's lots of room there. So after you lift or maybe touch the brake at the curbing for 10, ease back into the gas, start your right turn toward the apex for 11. And really, you can carry a lot of speed that you don't think you can. And there's a lot of track on there. Plus, 11 starts to go uphill, which is going to compress your suspension and give you more grip. So even if you're understeering as you're starting your turn for 11, it's going to catch once the track starts to go up. The other part of that, though, is what goes up must come down. There's a crest of the hill right there. I've seen lots of people go over the crest of that hill, not straight, still loaded up. They get a little squirrely as they crest that hill when the suspension is no longer compressed. So do what you can to get straight before you go over that hill. But watch out, because on the other side of the hill, the track tightens up. And all of a sudden, I see people over in the grass on the left-hand side because they didn't have the turn done before the hill. So that's the best thing you can do for safe for 11, is get your turn done before you crest that hill as you're going onto the straight. And then you're on the straight. If you're going to
Hold
track
on.
out, if you're going to go
I
off the track, it's immediately on the right. And then Chrissy.
So at the top of that hill, it is concerning because it's blind. You
Yeah.
can't really see where the end of that track, where you're going on the track. If you were all the way to the left-hand side when you're going over there, you may run out of track. There is not
You
much
will,
track
yeah.
over there. So I'm going to say that when we were there last year, there is usually a mark on the pavement in the middle of the track that if you hit that mark, I think it's like paint. Am
like
I
an
wrong
arrow
on
or
this?
something,
Right?
I
There
vaguely
is a
remember that.
mark on the middle of that pavement, right at or it's either at the crest of the hill or it's right before the crest of the hill. And I use that as you're not supposed to be looking down, but if you're looking out, you're seeing turn one, which is scary and far away. So don't look that far. But if you at least to be able to line yourself up and close to that line, and again, this is last year and years past, but I think there's something on the track that will give you some kind of marker to know that you are that you're in a good space to be close to where that track is coming where to be in the middle of the track and actually have track when you get over that hill. Second, also at the crest of that hill, there is a flag station. That flag station is very important because it will tell you everything. That guy is very concerned about what is happening, hence blind hill. Sometimes the track will back up furiously on the straight air quotes. You can't see that, and you may have stopped traffic right on the other side. So every flag station is important. There's a lot of kind of blind places in this track that the flagging stations are going to fanatically tell you if there is something wrong, and you need to keep your eyes up and watching every flag station. But this is one that's very important because it does stack up there.
Absolutely.
Although, as I say, this one's very important. I'm like, well, there's one in diving turn that if something is going down the hill, you can't see that. There's one that is right on the other side of the oval under the bridge because you can't see what's on the straight. So really, there
because you can't see.
Right.
Yeah, the one in turn one is not quite necessary because you can kind of see what's going around up to 2, but still
3 you're going to need to see what's going on. The one that's in the clubhouse turn can see all like a 360, so they'll be able to tell you what's going on the other side of the track. So all of them are really important, but there's a couple that are super important.
Yep, it's a fun track. There's definitely some idiosyncrasies you need to be aware of, and hopefully this reminded you what those are. But play nice. We're all here to have a good time. No one wants a car crashed. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
No. And well, one thing is like it's supposed to rain on Friday, so consider taking your car out early because you may not need that much wet practice.
Rusty parts are hard.
You know it's not hard? Clicking that like and subscribe button.